Hello people of YouTube, my name is Brad. This is my channel Adamant Orange, and this week in 3D metal model news. So far, the only thing new this week from Fascinations isn't really exactly new yet. If you didn't see my video that I released yesterday, kind of a news flash update, I've gotten word from a reliable source that Fascinations is soon to come out with a Books-A-Million exclusive. I almost get those mixed up because I recently talked about a Barnes & Noble exclusive. They're coming out with a Books-A-Million exclusive model. It's a Hogwarts model. Now Books-A-Million already has an exclusive, the Burrows, in color, in exclusive packaging. And it looks like they're going to come out with a Hogwarts Express in color, which is exclusively released through Books-A-Million. I talked about this a little bit in yesterday's video. And I imagine this is going to be in color. Well, it is going to be in color, but it also has a kind of a train track with it that it sits on, which is an addition to, and I imagine it's going to be in a very similar packaging to what the Burrows is already in. And it looks like, being bigger, it might be an Iconics model, but apparently it's only a Metal Earth model. So it's getting to the point now where there's not a whole lot of difference sometimes. In an update to yesterday's video, I said this is released exclusively through Books-A-Million. But Books-A-Million does own other bookstores, or they run bookstores by other names according to a minor amount of Wikipedia research combined with some information from CodeWiki and other sources. It looks like Books-A-Million also operates under Second and Charles, which I know the Burrows model has been found through Second and Charles. So if you have a Second and Charles in your area, you might be able to find this model. I can't guarantee it, but you might be able to. And they also apparently operate under Bookland and Books and Company. So while this is a Books-A-Million exclusive, if you have a Books-A-Million, Bookland, Books and Company, and a Second and Charles in your area, you might still be able to find it through one of those outlets. I can't guarantee that, but I know that the Burrows has also been seen at Second and Charles, so there's a pretty decent possibility. I wanted to add that because I kind of worked that out this morning, and I know with it being, there's some frustration related to things being exclusive and difficult to get, and that opens the door up a little bit. Now I do have a Books-A-Million near me, and have actually been able to pick up some models from them when they have them in stock, so it is possible that I could help some people out who don't have the models available in their area by purchasing and shipping models to them. I'd have to work out the details of how to do that. Details such as shipping and packaging and so forth. I'm not seeing anything new on Peace Cool's website or AliExpress or any of my favorited stores. However, I did look on crazytoys.co.uk, and sometimes stuff will appear on Crazy Toys that either appears later on their AliExpress store or sometimes not at all. But I did notice a HK 9 yuan Jiang tower. And if you've been watching this channel, you already know I'm not good at pronunciations, but Jiang tower, I believe it is, Jiang tower. It is a new model from HK. It appears to be, and according to the descriptions, all brass. The completed model is 13.6 times 9 times 10.5 centimeters. According to the listing, it has 5 sheets of metal. The sheets are about 11 by 11 centimeters, so not very big sheets. And it only has the price listed in pounds because it's crazytoys.co.uk, and it's listed at 17 pounds right now. So I don't know what that would translate into US dollars, or if there would even be a difference. Probably this will show up down the road on their AliExpress store, so it'll be a little easier to get, possibly even showing up down the road on Triumph Specialties, but I don't see it there as of yet. And that's it for new models this week. I do want to point out that Fascinations has not officially announced the Books-A-Million exclusive Hogwarts Express model, though I imagine they probably will in their next newsletter, if not sooner. One thing I do want to mention is, if you've followed on my social media, you've noticed, or even I've mentioned it in previous videos, that I was holding a class at my local library, which I am at again today. It's become almost tradition to come to the library to record the news video rather than doing it at home. So I do enjoy the company here, but I did have in the works planned a kind of Welcome to Metal Earth opener, beginner's Metal Earth class. There were so many possible titles I threw around. I think we basically just called it Build a Metal Earth Model class. and we built butterflies. That class was last Monday, and I did record most of the class. I do not want to release just a unedited, almost 2-hour video of everything that happened. Even the people that are seriously interested in what went on don't want to see that. So I am working on editing it down, and I'm working on a video, and it's taking me a little time, working on a video that's kind of an almost reaction video where I'm watching the video and giving some tips and pointers and things that I would do differently, because I do intend on doing this again. It was a lot of fun. It didn't have quite as many people show up as I had expected. I think part of that is just being a free library class. With it being a free class available at your library, I can't completely blame people for dropping if something more important comes up. The people that showed up seemed to enjoy it. There was an array of reactions. There were some kids that showed up and they just honestly lost interest, which I'm not surprised. The parents, the mother tried to continue, but had to leave. Three of the other adults stuck with it and finished the models, though a couple of them needed to go home and add some glue. So there's some things that I'd like to improve if I do this again. This is, as far as I know, the first of its kind, holding like a open class on building Metal Earth models. So I came in it with a million ideas of how I wanted to do it, reduce the ideas back to try and make it simple, and now that I've given it a test run, I have a better idea of what I actually want to do. So when I make this video, the video that I'm working on that talks about the class, I want to go over what I would change, because I want to encourage other people, especially people who have 200 plus models or 100 and some models that have a lot of experience building these models. If they want to do something similar in their communities, at their library or their meetups, and hold similar classes, I think that would be a lot of fun. We have such a wonderful Metal Earth family. So many people are open and helpful and positive towards each other, but so many of us are so spread out across not just the US, but other countries as well. So if we could build these communities in our areas and have meetups where people in the area could get together and talk about models and share tips and just improve each other's building experience, I think that would be a lot of fun. And one of my ultimate goals here is I want to repeat these classes locally a few times, try to improve on them. I want to share my experience with others so that others can have a good starting point to do their own classes with ideas of how it should go and how to format it, and a place to start with. That's one of the things is I'd like to see other people start doing this as well. But the other thing is, after a few classes of getting people into this, my hope is that enough people in the community will enjoy these models and want to build more, and I would like to start holding kind of an open build class. I like the idea of having an open build session where it's maybe a couple hours at, in my situation, the local library or whatever community resource you have, where people are into these builds, bring the models that they're working on, models that they're having trouble with, builds that they're having difficulty with or need advice on, bring it to this meeting, and we have people such as myself there who have a lot of experience, maybe bringing their own tools and their own knowledge and helping the other members and helping each other with their builds. The library here does a similar thing where it's an open drawing night where they have a resident artist on site for 2 hours. People just come in and draw and talk and share ideas. And the artist is there to give advice and help with any drawing techniques you'd like. And I would very much like to set up a situation where we have a similar experience with building these models, where people bring in their models and you have a community of individuals helping each other with tips and tricks and tools and methods, and it would just make for a wonderful, fun experience once a month or however often people want to get together and can do it. Those are my ultimate goals, to share this with other people, to get more people into it, and to build local communities where people can get together and enjoy putting together these models. It ended up being more of a talk than I had initially planned, but I think that pretty much gets the idea out. Now, kind of moving on back to last week, I had kind of left an open question of the week where there had been talk from other builders about missing the architectural and historical models. And I know there's been a lot of focus on Star Wars and Transformers models, not just from Metal Earth, but from especially Transformers from MU. And I asked the question, are you getting tired of these Star Wars or Transformers models? Are you missing models that are no longer being done, or you're missing the architectural models, or they're models that they're no longer focusing on, you wish they would, give me your feedback. And a few people did. Now Lee Kisselberg left the comment, I would love to see them do more cars of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, famous US landmarks, definitely more planes, and maybe even more dinosaurs. Mineral crystals and color would be awesome. And there were a couple of people that commented on that, but they also made their own comments later down below. So I'm not going to focus on the comments to that question, but on some of the other responses left in the comments section. Now Megatron Rules 10 commented, I have no problem with any of the models because I haven't gotten all the Transformers or Star Wars, but I'm a fan of everything that is out there and would like to build a lot of them, though I wouldn't be interested in like the music boxes or all the Japanese architecture models and so forth and so on. It is an awesome hobby to do when I'm not building plastic model kits. I completely respect that opinion. The fact that there's a big variety of models to choose from makes it great and appealing to a lot of people. There has been a while since, and there are a lot of planes already available, and there are a fair amount of architecture models available, but as far as anything new coming out, it does seem to be a little bit slow. But it would be nice, I think, to see Metal Earth continue to touch on all the different aspects and not lose any of the fans in the process. Max Musterman comments, I'm pretty much tired of Star Wars and Transformers models, even though I do watch the Star Wars movies. I got interested in the hobby through the architectural models, and they are still my favorite types of models to build. I would really like to see them do more. They are still enough landmarks they could use. P-School used to make good ones too. It's a shame I'm not that much into their recent pagoda and temple models. I don't like the models with gold. I can't say I argue with that. The gold is definitely interesting and different and stands out in your collection, but I don't like working with gold. The gold just is softer, breaks easier, and is less forgiving. So while it makes a great accent, there's a certain sigh, and oh, this is going to be more of a challenge, especially if I twist something wrong. But again, there is more people commenting that there's kind of a lack lately of architectural models and plane models, and they used to be really big with the Metal Earth community. Now Richard Kroll comments, I pretty much like every type of metal model with few exceptions. For some reason the Transformer models don't do anything for me. I think they look great, but I have no urge to build one. With the exception of Marvin the Martian, I don't see the attraction of the Legends models. I build Marvin as a present for my wife who loves him, and no, I'm not jealous. I would like to see more insects. An idea for insects would be several paper wasps or wires flying out of their nest. This would be cool. I really like the architectural models, in particular Himeji Castle in color, St. Basil's Cathedral in color, Grand Kui Tower, and the Emu Chinatown Tower. The lights are fun in the Chinatown models, but the batteries run out of juice too quickly. And that's interesting. I like that they're very open and like every type of model. And, you know, if the Transformers don't do anything for you, there's nothing wrong with that. Star Wars, if you're getting tired of it, there's nothing wrong with that. I like, again, that right now Metal Earth still has a pretty extensive catalog, although some of this stuff is getting old and not really being updated. Obviously, the Star Wars stuff is still coming out because a lot of people are still buying in. A lot of people are into it. I am one of those people, and I enjoy the Star Wars and Transformers models and wish I could better keep up. But once we're done with this, I have a story time coming up. But first, I'd like to read Matthew Oak's comment. I get being over the licensed models, but I think there is still a good variety coming out. Wild West, Apollo models, and the Duesenberg, etc. It seems to me most of the people tired of the licensed stuff are the collectors that build everything when it comes out. Fascinations is still trying to build their brand, so making Star Wars and popular franchises will help more people discover these models. I think it's a necessary evil to keep these companies in business. Color is big right now, and a lot of architecture builds aren't very colorful. However, I would love to see more military models in army green or camo like the B-24 Liberator. And you know, the responses are somewhat across the range. There are people like this, like Matt here, who sees kind of like I see it, is what it is. The popularity of Star Wars models is helping keeping money coming in, the models going, and it opens eyes to this collection and to other models, other possibilities as well. You've got kind of an entry point, a popular entry point. The Marvel models were a little bit of a popular entry point at the time. They haven't come out with anything new Marvel lately, but I imagine there is a certain difficulty with as wide a range as they have, and as small a company as I believe Fascinations is, there probably is a limit to how much new they can come out with. So there's arguments to be made both ways about how they're possibly neglecting the architectural models or the plain models, but then there's other new stuff that they're coming out with that isn't Star Wars and Transformers, like the Wild West models. It's easy to forget that. They have such a wide catalog of models. There's so many different ways to come about it, and I think Fascinations is doing what they can, and I think at least some people in Fascinations see that there are those that are getting tired of Star Wars models, but then there are still those that are readily buying them. And there are those that are getting tired of Transformers models, but there are those that are still readily buying them. So, yeah, I don't envy the people that are in the position to make the decisions of what we're coming out with next and how to keep everybody happy. But I said there was going to be a little bit of a story time, and some of these comments, like Matthew Oakes and Richard Kroll's comments, kind of remind me of where I come from in this channel. Originally, the first models that I started building were the Star Wars models. That is what got me into making Metal Earth models. The Millennium Falcon, Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. Those were 4 of the original 3 Star Wars, or 2 of the original 4 Star Wars models. I'm doing terrible with my numbers here. Those were 2 of the 4 original Star Wars models that came out. At that time, Fascinations had architectural models and I think planes, and I'm not even sure what all. But there was, I think it was R2-D2, Millennium Falcon, A.T. Walker, and Darth Vader's Advanced TIE Fighter. And those are the models that got me started. I really wanted to build that Falcon, and I really wanted to build Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, and I almost gave up on the TIE Fighter. The first one I built was broken, or I broke. But that's another story. But that got me started, and I mostly focused on the Star Wars models in the beginning, and I started doing the YouTube channel. The Transformers models came out, and I was very excited about that, especially since they were 80s style G1 Transform models, because I grew up with that stuff. The new movies are nice, but I don't keep up with them. I love the old stuff. It's very nostalgic for me. And Star Wars came out, or Star Trek, and I'm a huge Trekkie. Believe it or not, I don't talk about it much. I'm a huge Trekkie. And these were all extremely appealing to me, and I started doing this channel. I started making these review and build videos, and one thing that happened is I would get the occasional request for something that wasn't Star Wars or Star Trek or Transformers. For instance, I got a request to build the train, and I'd never given any thought to the train, but I went ahead and did it. Someone wanted to see me build it. I wanted to expand, and I built the train. It was a nice experience. Later on, down the road, I would occasionally take other requests that were outside of my initial interest. And the one that really stuck out was the Himeji Castle. And someone had requested that, and I thought, all right, I'll step outside of what I'm like, what I'm enjoying, what I want to do, and I'll do the Himeji Castle. And that was an amazing build, and that really opened my eyes to the architectural builds that were out there. I enjoyed building it so much. It was so different, but it was such a wonderful and beautiful model that really opened my eyes to exploring the rest of the catalog, and led to me more openly trying some of the other models, the plane models, the musical models, the things outside of the Marvel and Batman and sci-fi and Star Wars and Star Trek. And it really opened my eyes, and now I do look forward to other things as well. And I thought that was a relevant story to share, how my experience was expanded by these other models that came out. And relevant because Star Wars and Star Trek and Transformers is what really got me hooked into building Metal Earth models. But then eventually I stepped out of that zone into some of the architectural and planes and insects, and I really enjoyed building those. And now I enjoy having all these different models and building all these different things and trying all these different models and stepping outside of my comfort zone to try something new to see if I like it. And I've loved every moment of it. There's been some challenges and some models that I did not enjoy putting together, but I love having the experience. So thank you everyone to commenting on last week's question of the week. I'm sure someone at Fascinations in some level is keeping an eye on these comments to help them make their decisions. And again, I don't envy them and the decisions that they have to make of what to come out with next. Because on one hand, I'm sure they want to make their customers happy. On the other hand, they have an ultimate goal of keeping a job by staying in business. So don't envy them at all. So for this week's question of the week, moving on, this kind of goes to part of today and yesterday's topic in my videos, and that is exclusive models. I'm slightly hesitant to even bring this up, but what are your feelings about these exclusive models, or models that are available exclusively through certain retailers? What are your feelings on that subject? I know it frustrates a lot of people. The Disney models, they have so many wonderful models, but you have to go either pay too much on eBay or go to the stores to get it. There's so many exclusive models out there that have a varying degree of difficulty on how you get them. And as a matter of fact, putting this video together this morning, I noticed on Facebook briefly while I was taking a break that someone had made a comment on one of the Facebook Metal Earth pages about the hard to get models. And there really are so many. CodeWookie has even made a list of exclusive models and tried to break them down, and him and I have discussed how many there are and how easy it is to lose one or two in the mess. And here we are coming out with even more, and I'm very certain that there is going to be more on the way. It's frustrating on one hand that these models are difficult to get. I do have to give Metal Earth a little bit of a credit though. With a lot of the exclusive models that they come out, the exclusivity of it is that maybe they're in color. The models, most of them, not all of them, are available in some form through normal channels, like the sigil that's coming out through Barnes & Noble, that, by the way, I haven't had any word whether or not they're actually in stores yet. I've not seen, a lot of people are still looking for them. It was mid to late August. Here we are in mid-August. I really don't expect them to be there yet. And from everybody that from what I've seen, no one's found them in stores yet. But the sigil is going to be available in silver through normal channels, but the color version is only available through Barnes & Noble. And then here we have the Hogwarts Express that's going to be exclusive in color with an edition, but you can still get the Hogwarts Express in silver through regular channels. And they do that with a lot of their models. There's a lot of Disney models, Star Wars models that are exclusive in color or variations, but you can still get a version of it in the regular silver through Metal Earth. There are still ones that are only available through these outlets. With Disney, you've got the Disney characters, but that does kind of make sense that the Disney characters are exclusive through Disney because that's their characters. So it's frustrating that it's the only way you can get it, but it does kind of make sense. But then you got stuff like the eye logo from Asus, I believe it is, that's just kind of, what was that all about? Anyway, what are your feelings on the topic? Leave your comments down below, and as usual, I will address them next week. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you to my Patreon supporters for continuing to support this channel. If you enjoy these videos, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. There's a link in the description down below at the very end of this video. There's also a link to Ko-Fi. If you just want to give a tip on one video that you particularly enjoy, you can just give a tip without a monthly subscription. Again, thank you for watching, and keep on keeping on.